What is going on, everybody? My name is Kyra Mitchell, and I am starting my journey in the world of chickens. I've always kind of been around it, so it's not necessarily a fresh start, but I am building my first coop and have done a lot of research in what a good coop looks like and different chickens to buy and whatnot. And so I wanted to record my start with it as well, so that if it helps anybody, down the road with any ideas or things that I say, then that would be great. So let's get into it. So definitely a hard lesson that I had to learn is that my eye is not as good as I thought it was when it comes to seeing how level something is. As you can see here, I really did think that I was pretty close. I was pretty baffled by how far off level my land ended up being. I am on a pretty good sloped piece of property. It just didn't necessarily look like it right off the bat. So you'll see me struggle here for a little bit, just being super confused on how off level my land was, and still thinking that I could get it done with just a shovel and a rake. But I do think that here in a minute we'll see the moment where I realize it's going to take a little bit more than that. Yep, right there. I realized that it's going to take a little bit more of some heavy machinery to get this leveled out. So I am lucky enough to have a dad that lives not too far away and has got a nice tractor for us to use. So I know that not everybody's going to have access to that, but you certainly could have still built it up with some higher blocks. But I wanted to keep it a little closer to the ground, so I dug out just the side of that hill some more. You can't really tell in the video how deep some of that was going, but I did have to bring that pretty far down and go in there back with the rake to level everything out. I skipped ahead a little bit to not bore you too much with dirt moving, but did finally get it level. Luckily, in the video, it does actually look level, because in person it still looked pretty off. But for the base, I just put it onto 4 different cinder blocks and used treated lumber around the sides here. Throughout this whole build, I used a lot of recycled wood. I would definitely encourage you guys to look on like Facebook Marketplace, use whatever you can to find material that you can look over. And here I zoomed in on my dad because he's like, yeah, this isn't level. Like, I don't know about this. And so I had to pull out the level to prove to him that I wasn't crazy, that I did actually take way too much time leveling this sucker. But then, so where I would start building it, luckily he doesn't live too far. It helps to have a helping hand when doing this kind of stuff. I did build my frame to be 8 by 12, and all of my cross members are 2 foot on center. If you do want to make that a little sturdier, you can do 16-inch on center, but I figure chickens are pretty light. It's not too big of a deal to leave it 2 foot on center, and then just use that 1/2 inch plywood to create the base for it. I would say that whenever you're doing this, it's really not too difficult. Just make sure to keep your seams tight to keep it a good finish. And if your frame is directly, like for example mine is 8 by 12, then you're gonna have to kind of make it tight anyways to make all the plywood fit exactly right. I did have some roofing paper left over. We just did a huge renovation on the house, and so I'm using a lot of leftover material from that. So luckily, it's ended up being a pretty cheap build, relatively. Some of the material was bought earlier, but a lot of it was recycled or stuff that I picked up from other places to get this build done. But this was just to protect it from any of the water that would be spilled, or the chickens making a mess in there. But then, so that was the base, pretty straightforward. And then the walls, if you've never built a wall before, then you just have to think about it pretty much the same way as building the base. You just make a square, and then you put your studs either 2 foot on center, which is what I did with mine, or 16 on center if you want a sturdier building. And later in the video, I'll kind of show you how to stand those up. As you can see, I like to do a lot of my prep work, getting everything cut and laid out So it's just easier to get the drill out and get everything just put into place. Just makes it run a little faster. You certainly can, if you have a nail gun or anything, you can shoot these boards in. It could make it a little faster. But I just had some screws left over from the deck that I built on the house. And so that's what I'm using here. This is going to be my front wall. It's an 8-foot tall wall. It's built pretty much exactly like the base was built. 2 foot on center for my studs, and it's just going to be just a flat wall because that's going to be where the chicken door is going to come out and where the run is going to start for the chickens to hang out in. This is going to be the front of the chicken coop. Well, when you're looking at it from the house, it's a little backwards, but this is going to be the wall that has my door on it. And so this one is a 7-foot wall, so I will have my roof sloping from the first wall that I built to the back, so it'll just have a foot drop from front to back. But I'll certainly show you the roof build in the next video. I am going to break this into parts. Just makes it a little easier for me, so I can post as I'm building, and also if people are looking for specifically like the roof, they can go there. If they're looking for the siding, you can come here. I did fudge my numbers a little bit here with leaving it 2 foot on center, because as you can see in the middle, I'm leaving the space for my door. And so I kind of just left the 2 studs between the outside going up to the wall, just evenly spaced, which generally it was pretty close to 2 foot on center, but it was a little off. You can see the header. I didn't get too close on this, but it's just a little makeshift header. It has a 2x6 on top and bottom, and then also a plate underneath where the top of the door will go. That just helps distribute the weight of the roof and just the structure in general to go around the door. This is going to be one of my sidewalls. The sidewalls will pretty much they'll be the same size. I'm not slanting the walls themselves. The roof will be the only thing that is slanted. But this one will have a window, so as you can see, I framed my window there in the middle. I went ahead and framed that one first so that I wasn't worried about spacing on the sides or anything. I just marked half the distance to the outside from the window and put a stud there. But the bottom of this I am also leaving open so that I'll put a hinged panel on it so that I can sweep out the debris from the chickens when I need to, and also it's on the higher side of my chicken coop, so if I ever want to add some nesting boxes, if I end up getting more chickens than what's going to fit on the other side, then that'll be a good spot for that. Give a nice thumbs up for even though I'm not done with the walls. I don't know why I decided to give a thumbs up with that one. Maybe I was proud of the window spacing. I don't know. There you go. Good thumbs up. And here's the last wall, so this is going to be the other side. The only thing special about this one is I'm going to leave a gap in the middle for the nesting boxes. The nesting boxes will kind of be like one of my last videos of the build, because my chickens are certainly not anywhere close to laying eggs yet, and I just want to get the structure up so I can move them outside and get them out of the house. So this will be framed just like normal, 2 foot on center, but the studs will just be above and below that space there that I'm creating for the nesting boxes. How does the old saying go? You measure once, cut twice. I'm pretty good at that, as you see there. All right, so I've got my walls built. They're pretty dang heavy, so luckily I have an awesome wife who just came and stepped on a nail as she was helping me carry over the first wall. Not a great start there, but grateful for her and helping me get those carried over there. Basically how this is going to work, I'm not going to worry about running a 2x4 in the center for support or anything. I'm going to put all of the walls up right now since I've got an extra hand. She can help hold it. I'm going to just screw this one straight down to the base and then stand the next wall and screw it into each other, and that'll give the leverage for them to stand up on their own, and then pretty much bring in the next two to do the same thing. You can see the layout now that I was talking about a little bit better. On the back side there is where the door is going to be, so you can see that framed out with the header. And then on that right side that we're working on right now is where the window is going to go underneath that next header. She had to get a little revenge on where that nail was that she stepped on. This wall was where the nesting boxes are going to go, and so we got that all framed up. I know I brought my level over and got everything generally level, but the only people that can judge you for how your structure looks are the inhabitants. So I think the chickens will be all right if it's not completely square. So this next wall that we're bringing is the biggest wall. So you never know what you're going to find when there were chickens here before. I guess maybe the other guy threw those in with his chickens to play with the dead, the fake snake. So as you can see on this wall, this is the biggest wall. It's the 8-foot tall wall, and just with the way it was built with the the recycled lumber and everything, and generally any wall that's going to be this big will need some bracing. You won't be able to see that in this video. I don't have it braced up in this video, but you just run a board diagonally. You can go check out the next video. You'll be able to see what I'm talking about as I do end up bracing this wall, because you can see as I'm screwing everything in, it shifts back and forth. So it's not super stable. But really, if you're looking for a super rigid structure, just make sure to brace your walls, as well as doing 16 on center instead of 2 foot on center. But yeah, that's basically it for the framing of the walls and everything. Into the next video, I'll show you how I did the roof and the siding, and just continue on there. Thanks for watching, and definitely let me know any suggestions from your experience on how I can improve the chicken coop, things that I should look for or things that I should do. I'll give a little bit of an idea. I am looking at building some rollaway nesting boxes. I'm going to play around with that idea, see if I can get that to work out well as my feeders and my waters. I'm looking at different ideas, so shoot me your favorite ideas on how to make a feeder and a water that work well.